You are now rocking with the realest cowboy fan. Let's get it.
It's your boy, Big Rich, back in the building. Talk about these Cowboys, y'all. Let's go. Yo, what up, good peoples? It's the realest Cowboys fan. Back at you with another one. Again, not that I'm here saying that I am the realest Cowboys fan out there, but I am a realist as a Cowboys fan. And if you feel you're in the same boat, then help me row this thing. Holla at your boy. Let me know your name. Comment down below. Before we get started, though, let's pay some bills. Y'all know how I feel. If you like it, I love it. So subscribe, like, ring that bell for me. All right? Now, before we get started, y'all know I like to touch base on the Colorado Buffs, which y'all know I like to do because of my man Prime Time. But this past week they won to a bad team by a small margin, and they weren't on national TV this week. So I'm gonna leave that right there. The week before they did play well against a good USC team. I say good USC team. I'll say good USC offense, bad USC defense. Which, for whatever reason, that head coach they got over there at SC, the one that came from Oklahoma. He doesn't tend to keep a defense, regardless of where he's coaching. I don't know what the reason is for that, but hey, whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that right there. That's enough about the Buffs. I got a couple weeks to talk about dealing with these Cowboys, and before I touch on the beatdown that took place in San Fran, which I know you haters are itching to hear what I have to say about it, let me touch a little bit on the Patriot game from the week prior, which I was unable to speak on last week due to an extremely busy week for me. So my apologies for that. I know I did talk about coming out at least once a week and talking to you guys about these Cowboys. But yeah, for that Patriots game, we showed up and we showed out with a 38-3 victory. Defense did their thing, but the offense still sputtered against a bad Patriot team. Ultimately, it also needs to be stated that this is not your Tom Brady-led Patriots, right? And the win may have given us a false sense of status as a Cowboys team, right? The highlights of that game were CeeDee Lamb finally getting in the end zone. That's a bad omen, y'all. If your star wide receiver is just seeing the end zone 3 weeks into the season, I've been saying, the offense, they've had challenges, and that was a concern. But I know it's a new offense, so thought that was a big part of it, and still may be a big part of the reason why that there's challenges there. There's typically weeks of getting used to a scheme. When I say weeks, I don't mean like 2 and 3 weeks. I mean weeks, like months worth of getting used to a scheme. So, there's that. And I don't even think that the offense is fully been implemented, but they better hurry up because it's not looking good at all, right? So CeeDee Lamb finally got in the end zone. But the defense really showed up, man. The defense, they bounced back after a bad loss against Arizona. They had 2 touchdowns. One was a fumble return. Then they had a pick six by the man, Deron Bland. And then another touchdown in garbage time by Hunter Lipke. And then a couple of field goals. So all in all, 38-3 victory. People were kind of high in the clouds and really looking forward to the game against San Fran. Dak, who is always a topic amongst both Cowboys lovers and haters, and even those that don't necessarily, have a dog in the fight either way, Dak is spoken of. Is he the guy? Is he not the guy? But Dak was 28 for 34 with 261 yards. And like I said, finally got a touchdown pass to his number one guy, right, which is scary. But he did nothing to just wow you, right? Like there was nothing that said, oh, man, Dak's the man. Like, y'all better watch out, right? So going into this week, there was a lot of hype because of that win, the big win over the Patriots. It was Bill Belichick's worst loss of his career. Even though people know the Patriots aren't the same Patriots, it still was. We went out there and did what we were supposed to do against the bad Patriot team, and gave Bill his worst loss of his coaching career. So there was a lot of hype going into the San Francisco matchup. I myself felt like it would be a good game, but I honestly was giving the edge to the 49ers, okay? I'm again, realist, realist, meaning I'm keeping it real, right? I gave the edge to the 49ers. Again, I keep it real in my fandom, and I do not speculate from a purely emotional fan perspective. So if I was to put money on it, I wasn't putting no money on the Cowboys. Matter of fact, I got asked multiple times, hey, I'm going to put some money on that San Fran game. I told people like what's his name's dad in Friday when Debo asked him, you want some of this too, old man? No. Hey, you want to bet too rich on the San Francisco 49ers against the Cowboys? No. So I stayed away. And I'm glad I did. But yeah, man, the 49ers, the reason why I did, honestly, is because, man, I know what I'm looking at. Okay? I know what I'm looking at. I watch ball, y'all. I watch a lot of football. Saturdays, Sundays, played a lot of football, man. I know I can listen to football and know when a team is bringing it, man. Just hearing the click clack, I can know when a team is on offense and you hearing that click clack from their O linemen and their running backs just running downhill aggressively, unrelentingly. And I know they got something, man. San Francisco got something. They got something. And they've been the epitome of consistency. They've showed dominance in all the games they've played. Offensively, the 49ers scheme had been impressive, putting the ball in the hands of their playmakers in every way imaginable and scoring points. The Cowboys, on the other hand, like I mentioned, had not showed anything close to that level of dominance in the first 4 weeks of the season offensively. However, defensively, Cowboys have been impressive. But that was, again, against bad teams. You had the season opener, which came against the New York Giants, right? Where we went out and embarrassed the New York Giants 40-0, right? The Giants, we know now, are not a good football team. The Jets, we went out and embarrassed the Jets, 30-10, which we know now the Jets are not, the greatest football team. They won last week against Denver, but Denver's a bad football team. We turned around and lost to the Cardinals, who's not a good football team. We lost 28-16. Cowboys did. And then we beat the Patriots 38-3. So we've had a lot of really good showings defensively against bad football teams. And even though those teams were bad offensively, we've struggled. We've struggled. And it's not talent. We can't say it's talent. You got Hall of Famers on the O-line. CeeDee Lamb is that guy. He is. He's good. I mean, there's no question about it. He gets separation. It's not a lack of separation from your number one wide receiver. We know Brandon Cooks is that guy. He's had 1,000 yards for 6 straight seasons coming into this season, regardless of whether or not he's had great quarterback play or not, right? Brandon Cooks he's gotten his. So with that being said, what is it? But all in all, when I look at the 49ers scheme, man, Mike Shanahan is the best play caller in the NFL right now. He just is. He just is, man. So, I was looking at that and just seeing all the different ways that he gets the ball to his guys. Deebo Samuel's in the backfield, taking handoffs, taking, tosses, reverses, CMC, man. Christian McCaffrey is elite. He's just elite. He's the best back in the league. And there's not an argument there. He scored in 14 straight games now. I mean, the guy he's that dude, and he's staying healthy. The only issue that McCaffrey has had in the past is his health. His health. He's gotten hurt, I think, every season he's been in the league, but now he's staying healthy. But yeah, going into that game this past week, the 49ers were only picked to win by 3.5 points. Vegas had them as 3.5-point favorites. I still wasn't taking that. Okay, I wasn't taking the Cowboys to get underneath that. Right. I felt like the Cowboys had a chance and they could surprise us and make it a game with the defense. But I didn't have a lot of faith going into the game with the Cowboys offense against that stellar 49er defense and those dogs they got at linebacker. And it showed. But needless to say, I'm going to sit up here and say that I anticipated the Cowboys getting moliwhopped 42-10. I didn't. I didn't think they was going to put that whooping on my boys like that. I mean, skull drug. Grabbed us by our feet and just, come here. Drug us down the sidewalk. Head bouncing all on the concrete. Bruh. Come on now. I'm sorry, man. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Anybody now, yeah, you may have 49ers fans that speak from that emotional place. Oh, I knew we was gonna kick y'all butt like that. Come on, man. Anybody that's keeping it real, they didn't see that coming. I did see the 49ers winning, but I didn't see a mollywhop, and I thought it would be competitive. But the 49ers beat the Cowboys like they stole something. Like we walked in their house and was like, let me take this. And they came out and said, what are you doing? What are you doing in here? Who are you? If you don't take this whooping and get up out of here. Yeah. Beat us like we stole something. And they were dominant in all factors. Offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. Offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. That's important to note. And for each of these factors, the 49ers were dominant at all levels within these factors of the game. Okay? Now, what I'm saying is offensively, they ran and passed the ball with ease. They got whatever they wanted. They were running downhill. It was taking 3 and 4 guys. They were intentional in getting yards. They were falling forward. 3 and 4 guys to tackle CMC, to tackle even the backup guy. And it was click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. When you heard these guys running and the hits, pop, 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 and they're still going forward with leg drive. Oh, man, that's demoralizing as a defense. And we're small defensively. That's another thing I forgot to tell you about. We play with speed, but we don't have a lot of size. Micah Parsons being this beast of a pass rusher, he does it with speed. I've spoken on this before. You run right at him. You can negate him if you can be successful running right at him and blocking the other guys. And boy, were the 49ers successful at doing so. I think defensively we had one good play. That was it. Otherwise, we didn't really even compete. One good play. And that was a fumble. We forced a fumble. But guess what? Even on that forced fumble play, Christian McCaffrey ran over our dude. He ran him over. Our dude bloop, 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 falling backwards and forced the fumble as he's being run over. My God, even on a play where the one good play we had, we were getting ran through. Bruh, that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna keep it real. I got to. I can't say nothing different than what I saw. Cowboys fan or not, I gotta come out, keep it real, and say, listen, this was embarrassing. All levels. It wasn't any part of that game that I felt like we could have been competitive. They ran, like I said, they ran the ball downhill. And I talked about that after our loss to the Cardinals. I said, man, guess what? Here we go. It's that same old problem again. Thought we had gotten rid of it. No. It's back. It's back. We got Jonathan Hankins. Oh, yeah, he going to be our run stopper. Mozzie Smith. Oh, here's another guy to help us out. Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. Man, we got to play the game on the field first. See what happens there, right? And it's not looking good against good teams. However, I thought we matched up well with the 49ers. Better than we matched up against the Arizona Cardinals because Arizona had a running quarterback. The 49ers, Brock Purdy's not going to take off running for 50 yards on you. Yeah, he can scramble and make plays with his feet, but he's not really that big running threat, that's running by your linebackers. But he doesn't have to be, obviously. So, but I thought for that reason we had an opportunity. We had a chance at least to compete. But I was obviously, sadly mistaken. Brock Purdy got whatever he wanted. Again, he was accurate. No picks. The guy hadn't thrown a pick all year. The guy's undefeated as a starter, aside from the game last year in the playoffs against the Eagles where he got hurt. And I think had he played that entire game, he would have won. And I think they would have gone on to win the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. I really do. But, we'll never know, right? But this year they're out to prove the point. Defensively, they dominated in the trenches. They dominated at the linebacker level. Oh, my God, did they dominate at the linebacker level. Fred Warner, beast. He made Micah Parsons disappear, man. Fred Warner, a pick, a forced fumble, was all over the field everywhere. And we're not even talking about Dre Greenlaw, who is another monster. And they both play with an edge. And that's another thing, man. I ain't even really put this down to discuss, but it's just hitting me now, man. The nastiness that they played with was on another level. This is another factor for me. Factor 5. This is a fifth factor. They played with the nastiness, with the edge. It was chippy all game, but I felt like they were more chippy. They had more of an edge. They were playing, it was a little bit of bully ball. It was a lot of bully ball, actually. I mean, guys pushing the pile, like not stopping. Even after the whistle was blown, they were still getting after it, man. These boys were playing with a lot of nasty. The 49ers were playing with a lot of nasty in them. So they dominated the trenches. They dominated at the linebacker level, man. Fred Warner was just a monster. In the run game, in the pass game, I mean, he wasn't missing, man. And consistently, he's done that. That wasn't just where he just geared up against the Cowboys. He's done that all year, y'all. If you watch the 49ers, man, it's impressive. It's impressive, man. They're putting thumpings on people consistently. So, and Fred Warner's a big part of that. Dre Greenlaw's a big part of that. And both of those guys showed up and showed out tonight. And then in the secondary, they kept our wide receivers at bay. I don't know if that was a Dak issue or if it was just a good coverage thing. But I really think it's a Dak issue. I think Dak does not read defenses quickly. He does not throw in anticipation. And they took away the thing that he's decent at, which is a deep ball. And they said, you're going to have to pick us apart underneath, Dak. And he's not that guy. And we didn't do a lot of the things that could allow him to be successful, like short passing game, because the 49ers were sitting on that stuff. Everything we threw short, they came up, clack, 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 clack. You know, I mean, just busting heads. So it made it tough for us to succeed in the short passing game because they weren't giving us nothing after the catch or even allowing us to catch the ball in a lot of instances. From a coaching standpoint, they appeared to be ready for everything that the Cowboys showed, and the Cowboys did not appear to be ready for pretty much anything or most of what the 49ers showed. They got what they wanted. Got what they wanted. We were on offense and they were on defense. It was ugly. We had 4 3-and-outs to start the game. They started the game, taking the ball down the field and scoring with ease. With ease. Sometimes, well, I don't know if you guys know this. Obviously, if you're an avid football watcher, you know that when teams come out, they typically have a first drive script, meaning that they have the plays that they're going to run already scripted out. And then you may have some options depending on down and distance of the plays that you're going to run, but you pretty much have your first drive scripted. And then after that, you make adjustments and then you play based on what you saw on your first drive and the other team's first drive. When you're on defense, you pretty much change things up. The 49ers script, flawless. Took the ball right down the field. We came out and we struggled. Then we came out and turned the ball over with a forced fumble. When Tony Pollard finally did get to see a little bit of daylight, but we couldn't get the running game going. So I feel like that's coaching. We didn't make any adjustments, right? We have one big play to Kevontae Turpin, but, we didn't make any adjustments. So what was the problem? Dak undoubtedly was a major culprit. Dak undoubtedly, I'm saying that wrong. Dak undoubtedly was a major culprit. He was straight trash. 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 Throw him in the garbage. I mean, horrible. He was bad. 14 of 24, 153 yards, 1 touchdown that I talked about to Kevontae Turpin. That was a good throw. But other than that, 3 picks, throw the ball to the other team. Dak, open your eyes. They got on red, we got on white. Can you see? Please, get some contacts, something, some goggles or something. They got on red, we got on white. How you can't see them? Throw the ball to our guys, Dak. This is what I talked about before with him, where he plays like a world beater against the bad teams and leaves you thinking that he's the man to take us to the promised land. And then against the top tier teams, he go out there and he lays an egg, just like he did. Trash. The Texas Rangers baseball team put up more points than the Cowboys football team over the weekend. Texas Rangers scored 11. Cowboys scored 10. Stop. Can't make this stuff up. Come on now. Dak looked lost in the game. He looked like he didn't even know he was in San Francisco. You know where he was. Looked like he was in Narnia. Open your eyes, Dak. He didn't throw the ball with anticipation like I talked about, aside from that 1 touchdown pass to Turpin. All the while, Niners quarterback Brock Purdy throwing the ball in the windows like a bad kid. You know, a little bad kid always breaking windows in the neighborhood and throwing the ball. Ching-ling-ling-ling. He was breaking it. Man, and they talk about this in football. As a quarterback, you don't throw to a guy once you see that he's open. You throw to the window the guy is about to run into before he gets there. And by the time the ball gets there, he'll get there. And he'll catch the ball in that open window of the defense. Dak has yet to get that concept down. Dak waits until they open, then he wants to take 3 more steps, then throw it. Then the defense have a convention around the ball. No, I got it. You got it. I got it. Oh, you can have it. Come on, Dak. Brock Purdy out there looking like the remaking of Joe Montana. Boy, hadn't lost a game that he's played the whole game in since he came aboard. This was the guy that was drafted last. Mr. Irrelevant. Undefeated. As a starter in the NFL. Now, let me say this. The 49ers didn't see that in him. I'm not going to give them the credit on that. He just happened to turn out to be the perfect fit for that scheme. So they saw something, though. So they drafted the guy, right? But quite obviously, they took a guy. They moved up. They traded spots. They traded a lot of talent out of that system and picks out of their organization to get Trey Lance, who they turned around this year and let go of, traded him to the Dallas Cowboys because they felt like Brock Purdy, and they knew that Brock Purdy was the man that they needed for their system. So, bad decision by them to trade up to get Trey Lance, but kudos to them for realizing that it wasn't about the number of the draft pick, but about the performance of the quarterback, and they allowed this young man to do what he's done, which is just play awesome since he's came into his starting role. So, but anyway, back to Dak, man. No anticipation. Shout out to my cuzzo, CC, my big kinfolk. CC said to me last week before this game, he said, "Cuzzo, Dak is not that QB, and he will not put the Cowboys on his back and get us to a Super Bowl." And I said to him, that's a fair statement, cuzzo. But, what do the Cowboys do? You can't just go pluck Super Bowl winning quarterbacks from other teams or, from a draft that easily. He said, he didn't know, but it wasn't Dak. Cause after this game, I feel you, bro. I feel you 100%. 100%. But let me not just put it all on Dak and not give some responsibility to our all-world defense. I admit, I was on that train. I talked about it the last time I was on that train. Choo-choo. With this defense. And then with the Patriots win, I was like, okay, well, maybe we getting our groove back like Stella. Wrong. Our so-called all-world defense cannot be left off the hook. They did not force a single field goal. Them Niners scored nothing but touchdown. And we got smashed. We got smashed so bad the 49ers starters were able to come out of the game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, this thing was over. Over! Horrible. George Kittle scored 3 touchdowns. Had 3 catches. He only had 3 catches and all of them was touchdowns. He said after the game, I never got tackled. What championship defense allows that type shit? That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Come on, man. That's an embarrassment of epic proportions. So I talk about Dak. I got to talk about the leader of the defense, Micah Parsons. Non-factor. Non-factor. Pass and run game. Non-factor. He went from looking like a generational talent, like I talked about. I was on a Micah Parsons bandwagon too. Them trash teams with them trash O-lines we played had him looking like a generational talent. He was being put on that pedestal with Lawrence Taylor. And look, I was on the sauce too. I was on the Micah Parsons bandwagon. You know? I still think the guy's good, but since the Arizona game, teams have showed how to negate him. They've showed how to negate Micah Parsons' talent, his impact. Run at him. Throw some big boys at him, run downhill at him. It's working. Then after the game, he had the nerve to talk trash, stating that it's now personal because George Kittle lifted up his jersey and he had a Dallas t-shirt on. So now Micah said, oh, now it's personal. Oh, you done made it personal. You don't want to see us again. Micah, what you talking about, bro? What you mean you don't want to see us again? Bro, let me tell you a little secret, bro. Again, this is coming from a place as a Cowboys fan, right? I get that you shouldn't bow down, but please hush. Please. They've beaten us 3 times in 3 years. We've beaten them not once. The last year, we at least made it a competitive game. Now, this year, it wasn't even competitive. This was an uncle moment. They just unced us. They uncled us, Micah. You too. It wasn't like you went out there and you smashed and you was just, rawr, lion. No, you were a cub on Sunday. You were a cub. Mufasa. You went back to little Mufasa. Little Mufasa. Yeah. They uncled us. Yeah, this was an uncle moment. You know that uncle that put his nephew in a headlock and start giving them noogies? You know what I'm saying? Until the nephew starts crying and say, Uncle, Uncle, Uncle. That's what this game was. It was the equivalent of that. They unced us. There was nothing there that would lead anyone to believe that the Cowboys would be able to compete with this team at any point this season, barring some major injuries to the 49ers. I'm sorry. Stephen A. probably would love to hear that, but it is what it is. I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm sorry. We got unked. Hush. Don't say nothing. Just hope we get a chance to play them again, and then we have to try to show it on the field. But I don't see nothing from Sunday that will lead me to believe that we have an inkling of a chance to be competitive against that team. I've played too much football and watched too much football to tell my eyes they lying when I see a beatdown like that. There wasn't a single solitary drive, quarter, nothing that would lead me to believe that we can be competitive. Like I said, unless they get hurt. I'm sorry, man. That team is good. Very, very good. Hats off. He ain't got one on, but if I had one on, hats off. I give my respect to those people. And they haven't let up. Every week they've done this. They've been beating up on people since the start of the season. We felt like we was beating up on people and all now we crowned ourselves, but they just set the barometer. Okay? I'd be interested to see them against Philly with both of those teams healthy, because I think Philly is stout up front. Philly also has some good play callers, also has some weapons. But I just feel like the 49ers are different. They stay healthy, man. I hadn't seen a team like this, man. I don't know that I've ever seen a team like this. And I'm not trying to jump on the 49ers bandwagon. I'm not jumping off of the Cowboys. I'm always be a Cowboys fan, man. I've been a Cowboys fan, like I told y'all before, going back to the 90s. It's been a struggle with all the ups and downs that we've had. Some years I did feel like we did have an opportunity to go win that thing. This year I felt like it could be one of them, but I've mentioned this every week to you guys. That team that stands in front of us and has stood in front of us for the past 2 years is still there. They're still dominant, and they showed naked ass on Sunday. Can I drop my mic? Mic drop. I'm not going to drop it, but that's a mic drop moment. The boys went out there and showed naked ass. Stripper pole naked. Sorry. It's an embarrassment of epic proportions. I got to keep it real. I've got to keep it real. I mean, I'm 40 minutes into this thing, man, or whatever. But I got to keep it real, y'all. I mean, it is what it is. It would be my hope that maybe, just maybe, this was due to, on the offensive side of the ball, the fact that the entire offensive scheme has not been put into place just yet. But if that's the case, we got a lot of work to do. Defensively, I don't know what would change. I really don't. I don't know that we can put anything else on the field to stop them from running the ball downhill. Maybe us being more prepared for what they're going to do offensively. They did a lot of pre-snap motion that put them in great positions offensively. The pre-snap motion moved our guys, our safeties, our linebackers, and created holes even before the play started, or those windows that I talked about, that little bad kid Brock Purdy throwing the ball into. Ching-ling-ling-ling. Bringing all kind of windows in our defense. So, yeah. Maybe, we adjust to that and we don't run guys off to cover the guy in motion, leave a guy there, and we just bump the coverage out to the next man to cover that guy. And maybe we end up with a bad matchup with, a cornerback on a running back and a linebacker on a wide receiver. But, hey, it's going to look better than what that stuff looked like that we did on Sunday. I don't see how it could be any worse. Beat down of epic proportions. It hurts my heart to say this, but I have to keep it real. I'm gonna keep it 10 times 10. $100, a buck through and through, man. I have to, y'all. But anyway, yeah, I mean, back to Micah saying what he said. I think Micah's a lion at heart, even though he didn't have a good game, even though he was, held to minimal, if any, impact. I really feel like deep down in his heart of hearts, it did piss him off. It did make him want to play better. It did make him want to improve. My question is, what about the other 21 guys on offense and defense and whoever else may come into the game? Do they have that same heart? I don't know. I just seen a lot of this with the Cowboys in the past. Dak, major question. I almost feel like maybe we should get Trey Lance up to speed and see what he can do. And we let Dak, make his way, or, even a lot of people hollering Cooper Rush. I don't think Cooper Rush is the answer. I think he's a decent quarterback. He gives you something different than Dak, but I feel like when teams prepare for him, then they're gonna, negate or shut down anything that he can do. At least with Trey Lance, we have a run threat. So that gives you a whole nother dimension in the offense. passing the ball. Quite obviously, he can't be the best passer, or the 49ers wouldn't let him go for Mr. Irrelevant and Brock Purdy. Maybe he has a hard time. Maybe Trey Lance has a hard time processing defenses, so that could be it. I don't know. That's a big part of what you need to do in this game. That's Brock Purdy's superpower. I saw it on display. I've seen it, throughout this year. He anticipates well. In order to anticipate, you've got to read the defense well. You got to see the holes opening up by the guys moving on the defense into their zones or by their man-to-man coverage, whatever. So you see the holes opening up and you're throwing it to a spot, like I said, where your guy is going to be, not a spot where you already see him open at. To be able to process that information, to go through 1, 2, 3 reads and still hit windows. You don't have guys sitting there waiting on the ball. They're running into the ball. That shows you a passive anticipation. And to see that often from a young quarterback, it's very, very impressive. And on top of that, if you've got accuracy, which he has, if you're accurate and then you can anticipate, you're going to have a great NFL career. Tom Brady, who was also he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant. He wasn't the last pick of the draft, but he was a 6th-round pick. He had those talents. Maybe not the biggest arm, maybe not the fastest guy, but to be extremely accurate and to be able to quickly process the information that the defense is giving you, it's really intangible talent as a quarterback in the NFL that can lead to an awesome career. So, and I don't like to speak highly of the 49ers, man. I know we've got a rivalry going way back, but at this point, it's not a rivalry. At this point, it's ownership. They've owned the Cowboys. Again, realist. I'm going to keep it real. What else can you say, man? We've had 3 years of getting beaten, and that was just a bludgeoning. Like, that wasn't even like, even when the second and third string came in, brother, we couldn't score. Like, Dak was still in the game and he threw a pick. Anyway, all right, this one game. I say that's one game, but man, that's a measuring stick game. Like I said, man, typically about the 4th week, going to 4th, 5th week of the season, you start to realize who you really are. Based on that, I don't see us as a Super Bowl team. Some major's got to change. So I can't see myself getting super happy if we go beat the Chargers next week. I can't see myself getting super happy, even if we beat the Eagles, because, again, for us, the old dog to us, the menace to society is and are the San Francisco 49ers. They are the old dogs to us. Y'all seen that movie? Maybe I'm giving too old of a reference, but, go back and watch Menace to Society and you see old dog is. That's who San Francisco is to us, man. They are menaces to our society. And we haven't showed that we can be competitive. It's a little scary. And if they stay healthy, undoubtedly we'll have to go through them if we plan on doing anything in the postseason this year. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens, y'all. Again, I'm going to keep the faith because I still am a Cowboys fan. And I have hopes that something can change, but it doesn't look good. So, but I'll be back hopefully again next week. Good Lord willing. The creek don't rise. Like I said, this content, if you like it, I love it. So please subscribe, like, click that bell, ring that bell so you can get these notifications, man. Share it with your friends. Tell your friends about it. You know what I mean? Blast it. Again, come back and see me. Peace.